Sierra Belleza here in Cities Skylines. This is my tropical island paradise, kind of a Caribbean island, kind of Hawaiian themed, that I've been working on for almost a year now. And speaking of working on this for almost a year now, hope you all enjoyed the intro cinematics here that I kind of did for the beginning of the video. Took a little bit of time to kind of get those just right and add those into the edit here, into the cut. But I really just kind of wanted to show off something that I just recently figured out how to do. And this is something I've been trying to figure out for more than a year now. And I finally got it. And that's how to make the game look more realistic. Which I feel that at this point, I've got it about as close to realistic as I kind of want it. It's very sunny here on the island. But it's also kind of, I went with some... got a bit of a cool tint to it. By cool, I mean kind of a bluish or green kind of colors, you know, cool colors. Those who know anything about art and color and things should know about that. But anyway, let's talk about what we are going to be doing here in the video today. So we are finally moving off from the harbor port and we are moving into the industrial park area here of our island. Basically, this is where all the big factories and stuff are going to be. I thought it would be best to have these close to the dock, and I thought I've always kind of imagined them being right up here, and this took me a while to figure out the exact placement for everything, how I was going to do this, what it was going to look like. I have done so much research, and all of my research was for naught because I still never really found anything, and I just kind of ended up winging it, which is kind of what we're doing. In fact, before I actually recorded the time-lapse here of building all this and putting it all together, the way I had it set up before was completely different. So for those who don't know, I kind of like to build everything previously and try to get an idea. I just kind of like put everything together kind of where I want it, see how it's going to look like, and then kind of take a few like pictures and stuff of it, and then I delete it all and just rebuild it all for the video. That's typically what I do. In this case, I had pictures taken of everything. I had an idea of what I was going to do, and then as soon as I started building, I changed one thing, which changed everything, and it was a chain reaction, and that's kind of what we ended up with, and that's why this video is taking so long to get out. I had hoped to get this done so I could give it to my patrons so that they could see it first. I don't have a whole lot of patrons just yet though, so I'm pretty sure the patrons out there that I do have, I'm sure you guys won't mind missing one video for a week that I didn't get out early access. But the next one I promise will be. In fact, as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to be moving on, or as soon as I should say, as soon as I get done doing this voiceover recording and uploading this, I'm moving straight on into the next build video, which won't be City Skylines. It will be something completely different next week, where it's either going to be Planet Coaster or it's going to be Planet Zoo. Still haven't made up my mind yet which one I'm going to work on, but guess you guys will find out in the next few days, hopefully. So, what we're kind of doing here is I've got some new mods and stuff that I've been playing around with here in City Skylines, and one of those being, I finally figured out how to use post-process effects to get that realistic kind of look to it. I've got my LUT, my LUT, whatever, however you pronounce that. I don't really know. But however, those things basically, the color correction part of the game. I finally figured out just the right mix for that to give it that beautiful Caribbean, Hawaiian kind of mood, I guess. Yeah, it's basically mood lighting. And then a couple of other things I've done is I've been learning how to use Node Network Controller a lot better. I have a new one called, I believe it's, oh man, I can't remember the name of the mod, but it's basically called Bob. It lets you replace trees and props and things in buildings and other stuff. So like if you have an asset, say like say this factory right here that I'm working on, that I'm putting together. If it had trees or something on it, but I didn't want those specific trees, I wanted different trees. Like, let's say it had vanilla trees in it, but I wanted custom trees, custom assets I have downloaded. I can literally use Bob, B-O-B, to go into that specific asset and replace it on the fly. And it does wonders because it doesn't just do trees, it does props and stuff too. I can completely remove props from some of the buildings and stuff, which you will see me do in the game. Another new mod that I just started using here is building spawn points. Now, what building spawn points does is it's this amazing new mod that I really needed in my last video. I literally asked if anybody out there knew how to stop the trucks from just like stopping into the middle of the road and turning around. By trucks, I mean the cargo trucks. Like, they would say they're dropping off cargo, they would just go to the front of the store or the front of the factory or whatever and just start turning around. They would stop right there and turn around. It would block traffic, and it's just really bad looking, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I was asking if anybody knew of any mods or anything that, or any way to change that. And lo and behold, Yumble TV posted a video the same day that video went live and showing off a brand new mod that lets me pretty much do that. And again, it's called building spawn points, and it lets you go in, you click on the building, and you can change where you want the trucks to spawn in and out at, which is essentially what they're doing when they're unloading cargo. They stop there and do whatever they need to do, and that's pretty much it. So this new mod completely lets you change that. You just go in, change it, set it to behind the store if you want, to the side of it, in an alleyway, wherever you want it to go. It's really easy to use. I highly suggest checking out Yumble TV's channel. He has a great tutorial on how to use this mod. I highly recommend checking out his channel. He also has excellent tutorials that goes into detail on so many different things, and I've learned a lot since I've actually found his channel on how to do a lot of stuff in City Skylines, as well as just figuring things out and like better mods and stuff that I didn't use before that is making my city much better. So anyway, back to what we're doing on the screen here. So you were seeing me place down just some smaller kind of factories and warehouses and stuff. So the entire idea of this area is, like I said, it's going to be an industrial park. So I did a lot of Googling, a lot of checking out how some people did their industrial parks and stuff, which there aren't many videos out there of people doing this. There's a few, and the ones that I watched are excellent, but they just weren't kind of what I was looking for. And I didn't want to, not, completely copy what somebody else did. So I was mostly just looking for inspiration. I did find some inspiration in a couple of videos, as well as inspiration from Google Street View and Google Maps and stuff, and just like using satellite images to kind of look at stuff. Finally found a huge industrial area in Hawaii, and I was looking at that, and I'd looked at the map of Hawaii many times trying to find something, but it wasn't until this week that I actually kind of found the biggest industrial park that was closest to kind of what I'm doing here. A lot of their industrial areas is full of a lot of car garages, like mechanics, auto body places, things like that. That's what a lot of their like working areas and stuff kind of consist of, or a lot of steel places where, and by steel I mean like recycling steel. Don't know what's up with that, but there's a lot of that. So I guess that's one of the biggest things that Hawaii does in their industry. But for our little area here, I had to figure out what are going to be some of the main like things that we are going to have in this area. What kind of factories are we going to have? What kind of things do we produce on our island? So I decided to go with the electronics plant, the Lito electronics plant factory. Went with that, and I placed down some warehouses here and there, and I just basically kind of went crazy, and I just started like placing different buildings here and there until it just kind of started to come together and look right. We got the plastics factory, the home plastics I think it is. I don't know if they make Tupperware or what, but it's a home plastics company. There's some smaller little buildings there on the corner. I basically wanted to kind of, as you're coming into this area, you would see like smaller businesses and things there, and then it would kind of go into larger factories, and I wanted the larger factories to be surrounded by smaller factories or smaller warehouses and just industrial type of places. One thing I didn't end up putting in here, which I had planned on, was a like farm equipment sales place. Completely forgot about adding that in when I got done, and I was like, oh, I don't have any place for that. Well, there's going to be more. I also wanted to put in a cigar factory as well, because I'm kind of thinking Tropico. And Tropico, you can make tobacco, and one of the biggest things, you know, when you're thinking of tropical islands like Cuba or something like that, their biggest export is Cuban cigars. So I was thinking, oh, well, what if we have a cigar factory? I looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find anything I really like to use as a cigar factory. What I might end up doing is I may actually try my hand at making an asset for the game myself. I've been watching some videos on it. I'm fairly certain I could do it, and I just need to get some time, some spare time, I should say, where I can actually kind of go in and work on that. So hopefully for the next video, you guys might actually see that, if with any luck anyway. Okay, so we are about not even halfway through the video, and I still don't even know what all we're going to talk about. Like I said, I'm just kind of placing down some random factories here and there, and this is just basically all in my head and just kind of how I imagine a industrial park would look. You'll notice right now I'm actually using the building spawn point replacer there. So you saw me kind of moving it around so it's in the back of the building. But I enjoy taking some of the in-game assets and like assets I've downloaded, and I like to combine them together to make new buildings, so they're not exactly as recognizable, and it gives my city and my project a little bit more uniqueness of where I kind of and how I put buildings together and to make new ones. I don't do it with every single one of them, but you'll notice a few of the buildings I've combined together. I also like using procedural objects for that as well, because sometimes when you put in multiple buildings, they're going to need road access and all this other stuff, or maybe I just need to resize it. One of the big warehouses at the end of this road here, which you saw me do earlier when I was actually working in procedural objects, was I wanted to hide the warehouse that I was using, and I wanted to look much larger. So I decided, oh, you know what? Let's use this warehouse here, but let's make it larger. So we'll use procedural objects, and then we'll make it taller, so it's almost as tall as the electronics factory. And once I put all that together, I think it worked out really, really well. And then, of course, we're going to be using parking lots and stuff, because you have to have parking for all the workers and stuff. I do have realistic parking turned on in my traffic president settings, so that the citizens of the city, they don't just kind of walk around and drive right up to the front or do whatever they do naturally. Instead, they will actually seek out places to park so that they can get to where they need to go, which is really cool. It makes it just add that much more realism to everything, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm also trying to use some fences here. I'm using the line tool to kind of move around and put different fences and stuff down around here. A lot of this is just a lot of detail work, and this took forever to build. Like, it doesn't look like it took that long, and honestly, it was only about 4 hours of footage, but I literally spent 2 days just working on this and trying to get things right, because some things I didn't actually record. There was a lot of things I left out of the recording, and then just like I would stop recording, and then I would work on something and try to figure out how it was going to work, and then, you know, again, delete it and then redo it for the video. And then I also cut some things out here where I fumbled around trying to find just the right, like right here where I'm using these bushes and stuff. I spent a good 15 minutes looking through all the bushes, trying to find just the right bush to put down there. So I was very, very picky. I had to have just the right bush. And I'm still not happy with those, but it was the closest one I could find that I liked. And I ended up cutting out like most of that there and just cutting down to where I opened the menu up and then, oh, okay, here's the tree, or here's the bush. So it looks like I knew exactly what I was doing, but honestly, it took me a while to try to figure that out. A little behind the scenes information there for you guys. So yeah, don't think I'm just doing this like I 100% know what I'm doing. I honestly do not. I really don't. Alright, so right here we're going to put some hedgerows in, and again I'm just trying to do some detail work and just try to give the area a bit of character, and putting different like fences and stuff in. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say about what I'm doing. I'm just doing detail work, and I don't want to just do it, you know, and have it play with just music, and I would much rather talk, even if I'm just rambling and going on. I would still much rather kind of talk over and do the voiceovers on my stream. Some people like to watch Cities Skylines videos to fall asleep. I know that's what I do. I watch a lot of Cities Skylines videos and you know, I will sit there and watch them and fall asleep, and I'll wake up and my tablet will still be like, it'd be on like the 5th video from this in a sequence or something. And I was like, okay, I've been asleep for that long. All right. The entire area is not 100% done yet either as far as detail work. I hope to try to stream a little bit next week on YouTube and do some more detailing and stuff. There's still lots of little things to do here and there in this area to make it just right. It's essentially what I did with the cargo port and everything, except instead of making multiple videos, what I'm kind of thinking is I'll make one video, one or two anyway, of an area, and then a lot of the detail work I will just kind of do on a live stream. But I do want to try to get this at least finished and looking somewhat decent before the end of the video, which I think I do a pretty good job. And of course, like I said, there's more to do. I haven't done a whole lot of striping or anything on the warehouses, the loading bays, adding trucks here and there to different places, more decals, just so many little things to try to just add more touches of realism to everything and try to figure out, you know, the placement for trees and stuff. So this is that warehouse I was talking about a little bit ago, where I used procedural objects to make it look bigger than what it was. It's actually like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 5 different buildings all put together, and then, or it's 4 different buildings, and then I used a procedural objects building I turned into a procedural object and then put it on over top of it as a roof there, which I think it turned out quite nice. So we're just going to pop a few trees here and there to use as barriers and stuff. I will most likely probably be putting some trucks and striping and stuff, like kind of like a truck storage area maybe behind that there. Moving on here into the next little section of here, we're going to move across the freeway, or under it, I guess, and we're going to go up into the next section, where we're going to be just doing warehouses for the most part. Just lots and lots of different kinds of warehouses and storage areas. And one thing that I really wish I had, and I looked through and I didn't have a whole lot of these when I was doing this, was signage, to give each of these little warehouses some character, so to speak. Like each of them would be a business. Like most of the time in an industrial park, most of the buildings are all owned by one group or one real estate company or something like that, and they rent these buildings out to other parties, and then a lot of them will have businesses up front and then the factories and stuff in the back, or they will just run everything out of that factory and it just make small stuff like, I don't know, surfboards or something. You know, maybe one of these places makes surfboards, maybe one of them makes car parts or something. Maybe they're just a small company who come up with an idea to make something, so they rented a factory because, you know, that's just how things grow. I don't know. Maybe one of them makes sex dolls. Who knows? But again, I wanted to kind of give Each of these little area or each of the little factories a little bit of character, but I just didn't have enough signage. So hopefully I can figure out how to do my own assets and stuff for Cities Skylines. It's something I'm very passionate about, and something I feel like I can do a lot better than being able to do anything using Blender in for Planet Coaster, because I always wanted to make my own custom stuff in Planet Coaster, but I don't know how to use Blender, and that's what's holding me back from that. I did learn it for like a week, and then I never used it again. I've never finished any of the projects and stuff I was working on at the time of things I was making. So by the time I wanted to get back into that and do it some more, I just completely forgot what I was doing, and I just have not had the time to go back and relearn that. Luckily, I can use SketchUp for making a lot of assets and stuff in here in Cities Skylines, because they don't have to be fancy, they just have to look good. And I found a tutorial on how to do it and using SketchUp, and I know how to use SketchUp because I used to make a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 assets and stuff, and mods and things, pieces and custom scenery and things for that game, and I use SketchUp to do it. So SketchUp is a program I know. I used it a lot, and using that, you still have to use Blender for the most part, or 3ds Max or something like that to convert it into what you need, but you don't have to model in that, which is fine because I don't really want to. I do, but I don't have the time to learn it. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. So one of the issues I ran into here with putting some factories over in this area was it just wasn't large enough. There was like basically an entire mountain over here. So I am literally moving mountains to put in the factories and stuff that I need here. I kind of wanted all of the factories over here that kind of deal with food and other stuff to kind of be in one area. And I feel like other than the electronics factory, one of the other biggest production areas or biggest industries here in our industrial park is going to be the juice factory here, because I really feel like this being a Caribbean island, you know, they're probably a juice factory would be like perfect for this. You know, maybe they're doing pineapples or banana drinks, or, you know, I don't know, Cuban cigar energy drinks. Who knows what they're making. That just sounds gross just thinking about that. You ever been around somebody who smokes and they take their cigarettes and put them out in cans, and you ever accidentally pick up the wrong can and take a drink? Oh, it is disgusting. That's what I imagine Cuban cigar energy drinks taste like. So probably a lot like cappuccinos or coffee, because I'm not a big fan of coffee or cappuccino. So they probably taste about the same. Yeah, probably do. Anyway, so what I'm doing right there is I'm actually making a step towards probably putting another off-ramp in right here, which I may do one on the other side as well, the freeway. But we're totally not going to do that today because that's a lot more work to do, off-ramps and on-ramps and things. So, but I will probably put one in this area because I kind of feel like it could use a different one. We want a lot of ways for industry traffic to get in and out where the factories are. So, yeah. But anyway, I had to move a lot of the mountains and stuff out of the way there. I had to clear a lot of that out. And I'm going to have to put some more residential areas up in there as well. That way we can kind of have more workers and stuff. Because I noticed I've only done one residential area so far on the map. And it's pretty much, it's fairly decent drive from where we're located at right now. And I think it would be best if we put some more residential up in this area. So we're kind of going to move over into, we're going to clear out some more of this mountain, kind of flatten it out a little bit. I definitely want to make it still kind of be a bit hilly and give it some terrain alterations and stuff. But for the most part, we're going to try to make it not as mountainous over in here. And we're going to connect it to the other side of the island there. That will probably be something I will do in a future episode. Maybe not the next one, but definitely in a future one. I really kind of want to get down into the nitty gritty of the city and actually do the entire tourist area, which is kind of what I call it. It's the beach area. It's where all the hotels and all the big businesses and stuff are, where what most people come to the island for, the casinos, things like that. I want to kind of get into that, and I guess technically the downtown area, but it's pretty much going to be the beach tourist area. And I honestly have no idea how I'm going to do that. It is going to be a total beach to build. Yep. Yeah, I totally went with the dad pun there. All right, so messing around with some factories or some warehouses there, because I want to. One thing that this the juice factory here doesn't have is I didn't notice anywhere around in the building where they store things and like loading bays and stuff to ship things out. So I thought it would be a good idea to put our own warehouse back here, and that would be where all the shipments and stuff are stored before being shipped out. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I also got these little fruit plants on the side over there that I placed as well. They're these like wooden buildings, and it literally, I think they called them fruit picking plants or something like that. Because I kind of feel like the factory, a juice factory, would kind of have places where they would store fruit, and they would store them in those buildings. So maybe one building per different kinds of fruit or stuff for things they do. So as you can see there, I'm just leveling out a lot more terrain there so we can build some more stuff in here. We're going to clear out some of these trees here. And over here we also have the red building there, which is a food factory. I don't know what they do there, pork products or something. Who knows? You can probably imagine in your head maybe what kind of food they process there, but it's basically a food processing plant, like a meat packing plant, probably, most likely of some sort. So, and just kind of attaching another warehouse to the back of that. Again, just kind of adding some more character and just kind of make my buildings a little bit more unique by taking multiple buildings and combining them together. I've seen other, creators and stuff do that, and I liked how they did it, so totally got inspired from them. Now, this last building that we're going to build here, this one is something that I specifically wanted to put in here. So every day that I drive to work, I pass by this dairy processing plant. I think it's like milk or something that they process there. I don't know if they make cheese or that's just like milk for grocery stores, and they process it there and then ship it out to the grocery stores or whatever. But anyway, it's this building, and I wanted to kind of recreate that building because, like I said, I passed by it, and it's a very unique building. And when I think of industrial areas, that's the first building that actually kind of comes to mind. It's like right on the side of the freeway or the interstate. So every time I drive by it, I see it. And I was kind of thinking it would be good to kind of recreate this in a game if I could. So I found a few buildings and was able to combine them all together to make something as a close, facsimile of kind of what I passed by for the most part. We're just going to color it blue because it is a bluish and white building. And I think the blue is kind of good for like dairy. When I don't know, if I think of milk, I mean, obviously milk is white or brown if it's chocolate milk. Or, if you're Luke Skywalker, it could be blue milk. But, yeah. But the building itself is blue and white. So, but also like labels and stuff. When I see milk, I think of blue labels for, code and code milk. And I don't know. My head works in really, really, really weird ways, and how I make, like, resemblances to things, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I was just, like I said, I'm just trying to recreate the building as best I can, and I think I did a pretty good job of it. Obviously, you guys can't tell because you don't know what the other building that I'm seeing is, and I can't specifically say the name of the place because that would kind of reveal a little too much about where I live. You guys know I live in Kentucky, or I guess some of you know I live in Kentucky, but you don't know exactly where, and I like to keep it that way, just for privacy and stuff, because I've heard so many stories of, like, content creators and Twitch streamers and stuff getting swatted and things like that, which, you know, I'm sure if somebody really wanted, they could probably figure it out. But for the most part, I would much rather keep where I actually live in Kentucky. More of a secret, I guess. Yeah, please don't swap me. Anyway, yeah, so we're just kind of finishing up the area here, and like I said, there's a lot more detail work and stuff to do, and a lot of the details I have already gotten done. I did them off screen from recording here, so once we finish up with a few more things here, we are going to jump into some more cinematics that I have recorded. And again, I hope you guys kind of enjoy those. I really, like I said, it's something new, and I haven't really done it a whole lot in my videos when I do the cinematics by, you know, using the in-game camera and stuff to do those. So, and then I just kind of cut them up and let them roll. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to do here in just a second. Lots of terrain, like differences in terrain here, so I'm having to try to find neat ways and unique ways to kind of separate the terrain there. So using these retaining walls and quays and other things to the best effect that I can. So yeah. All right. Well, anyway, we are pretty much at the end of the video. I appreciate everyone for watching. Thank you so much. Again, a huge shout out to all of my Patreons out there. Thank you so much for liking my work enough to, you know, kind of stop by and become a Patreon. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for everybody for becoming a subscriber here on my channel. If you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend doing so. If you've enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed Cities Skylines, if you enjoy Planet Coaster and Sims and stuff, subscribe to my channel. I definitely think you will enjoy it, and I've got tons and tons of content over the last 5 or 6 years here that I've created that I think you will enjoy. In the meantime, guys, I'm going to head out. Enjoy the cinematics wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks for watching.